Today on the Morning Edition, lawmakers push the DOT to answer questions about whether the Dalton Highway can handle the increased strain and stress of a major LNG project push. Plus, the Fairbanks City Council is advancing a motion to raise their stipend despite the majority of public comment opposing the notion. And later, a son surprised his father, who recently recovered from a medical emergency, with tickets to the NFC Championship game last Sunday. We'll sit down and find out the inside story as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Thursday morning, everyone. If you haven't made it out on the roads yet, you will notice that they are very slick. The Anchorage School District has canceled school today because of it. Tell us a little bit about that freezing rain, Bailey.
Yeah, man. Okay, so we do have a lot of freezing rain for today, and we do have even more on the way in the overnight hours tonight. I just wanted to give you a look at those road conditions right now. You can see in Eagle River, temperatures sitting at 31 degrees, and you can see that reflection off the headlights as these roads are not only wet, but they are also icy. So be aware of that, especially since the Glen Highway does get that black ice. So be aware of that and make sure that you're staying cautious as you're driving. Temperatures across Anchorage right now all sitting below freezing and just at freezing over in Hillside. So be aware that, of course, in those residential neighborhoods, this is typically where more of that freezing rain begins to collect. We currently have a winter weather advisory underway for freezing rain and ice accumulations up to 1/10 of an inch. So that's enough to kind of get your car wobbling just a little bit on those icy roads. But across the region, I did want to point out these temperatures. Look how warm it's going to be today, especially into the Copper River Basin, reaching up into the mid-40s with lots more rain on the way across Whittier and Cordova. And you probably haven't looked at the radar today, but the radar is pretty crazy right now. We even saw a little bit of lightning flash out in the coast, which is pretty crazy. You need just a little bit of that moisture and that heat as well to produce that lightning. So that just shows you how much convection is within this storm that's passing through. But this winter weather advisory, like I mentioned, that is issued from Anchorage all the way down into Homer for this freezing rain, with again that ice accumulation of up to 1/10 of an inch on these roads. So again, please be careful. You don't want to start off your day in an accident or sliding around. So just take your time this morning. But as we look ahead into the weekend, that's when we see even more of this wintry precipitation moving through. But for today and for tomorrow as well, just brace for some of those scattered freezing rain falls as well, and some of that wintry mix moving into the Copper River Basin in the overnight hours.
Can Alaska's roads handle a major LNG pipeline push? Lawmakers put that question to the DOT. Project leaders say construction could start by year's end, but some senators are not convinced the state is ready. The Dalton Highway is a key concern. Interior senators say the road is already strained and could take a hit from heavy construction traffic. DOT Commissioner Ryan Anderson acknowledged challenges, but said the Dalton Highway was designed to support pipeline development.
You know, we're all super excited about hearing Glenfarne ready to put pipe into the ground in December of next year. And I'm not convinced hearing the report today that the roads will even be in a condition for that to happen.
I'm confident we're ready for the gas line. I mean, I think you're going to see us really putting our heads to it once we get more details here, and we're going to be upfront and transparent, you know.
Well, I'm concerned that we aren't prepared for all of this and that suddenly we're going to need to have significant amount of cash on the table to pay for these improvements. At the same time, I'm concerned that even our Department of Transportation doesn't have more detailed information.
Pipeline developer Glenfarne said last week it is moving toward construction and plans to start laying pipe in December, but the company has not made a final investment decision, a key step that had been expected this month. ConocoPhillips says it expects minimal impacts after Doyon 26, that massive 9.5 million pound rig that was heading for exploration activities, spilled roughly 4,000 gallons of diesel fuel on the North Slope last Friday. State environmental officials say they're focused on containing contamination before spring thaw.
Well, fortunately, this happened when everything's frozen. And so snow is really good at absorbing diesel. And so the plan is to really contain what has hit the tundra and address it before anything starts to melt. So sandbags have been put down and other tactics that have been used in other oil spills are sort of being evaluated and for their appropriateness. Every oil spill is different, and so you have to look at all of the different factors and what are the most appropriate tactics to really prevent any mobilization and then go in and pick things up.
State officials have established a joint information center with updates available online as the multi-phase cleanup operation continues. Nudity, drunkenness, and assault could earn you a criminal charge in Anchorage. As Joe Allgood reports, some municipal code isn't strict enough. The standard for public decency in Anchorage may be tightening soon as lawmakers consider a change to municipal code. Others say it goes too far.
The Anchorage police officers are spending a lot of their time responding to calls for public intoxication, nuisances, threatening behavior.
But in some cases, they say it's hard to do anything about it.
A lot of feedback that we've gotten is I thought all of this stuff was already illegal. And yes, it appears that way, but there are some loopholes that we had to close.
Closing loopholes may make it easier to charge someone with a misdemeanor, but opponents feel the ordinance goes too far.
It is so sweeping that it becomes so vague as to how one's conduct can be brought into conformity with the law.
Started with the wildfire ban, then the camping ban, and 2/3 to 3/4 of the public said, no, don't do this, and did it anyway.
That ban, from what I've heard, has been used to move and displace a lot of people.
One phrase people take issue with is a prohibition on, quote, threatening or menacing behavior.
There are many people who think that simply existing in public as a person of color is menacing, or existing as a poor person, or existing as someone with mental health challenges.
Others say there needs to be a better way to deal with situations where the law isn't so clear.
Once was doing an interview, I might have been with you, in Town Square, when there was somebody who was literally just in our space, leering and threatening. And he wasn't noisy, but he was pretty scary to me.
Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
A potential change to the Fairbanks City Council stipend and taking steps to protecting a historical building in Ketchikan. Adelmi Ruiz joins us now from the newsroom with those stories. Adelmi.
Kristen, the Fairbanks City Council is advancing a plan to raise their pay. The monthly stipend would increase from $500 to $750. Monday, the council voted 4-2 to move the idea forward after cutting an earlier $1,000 proposal. Mayor Mindy O'Neill introduced the plan. Council members say much of the public comment has opposed the raise. The stipend has sat between $400 and $500 since the 1980s. Supporters say higher pay could open the role to more people. Opponents say other solutions should be considered.
It looked like it had been in at that rate has been for 20 years. So it's good to look at things like that. I kind of think that to give a raise should go through the budgetary process.
Obviously, no one is running for that position for the money, but people's time is valuable, and I don't think that it's wrong to compensate somebody for that.
After a work session next week, the council is set to look at the issue again on February 9th. A historic building in a southeast city has taken a step towards preservation. Jace Bertrand spoke with the nonprofit Historic Ketchikan to learn the history of the Yates building and how they hope to connect the present to the past.
For more than 120 years, the Yates Memorial Hospital building has stood in the historic downtown district in Ketchikan. Established as a church in 1905, it was soon converted into a medical facility, which historic Ketchikan director Erica Christian said was critical to, at the time, Alaska's largest city.
Unless you were down in Seattle, Ketchikan was it. Like, there wasn't anywhere else to really get medical help.
Boats would dock right out front.
It was a very important building. And it served that purpose from 1905 to about 1927, when a much bigger hospital was needed at a nearby location.
The nonprofit's executive director, Stephen Reeve, said the Yates building would go on to host entities like Alaska Sportsman Magazine, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Alaska Seaman Center.
We have 3 national historic districts, which is very rare. This is a key one of our downtown National Historic District.
After years of threats to demolish, historic Ketchikan acquired the building on Front Street with a goal to preserve and inform.
It's really well suited in the downtown, and so much foot traffic coming by and everything that's happening on that street with different revitalization efforts.
We've got a couple small grants to get going with it, and we're deep into renovation now, but we'll need quite a bit more to do. We're going to be careful about how we do it, and it won't be cheap, but we'll get there.
Once listed as one of the 11 most endangered places in America, the Yates Memorial Building is ready to take on a new life, bridging the past to the present. Jace Bertrand, Alaska's news source.
The first year of restoration work is slated to cost $150,000 with money raised through grants, donations, and partnerships. Kristen.
All right, thanks, Adelmi. Just ahead on the morning edition, it's tax season, and that means, unfortunately, scammer season. Our investigative team sat down and spoke with experts on how best to recognize and protect yourself from possible IRS scams this year. We'll share those details with you next.
And wet weather is clinging to South Central with temperatures on the rise from the southern coast into the interior. I'll have more coming up.
And welcome back in. 14 minutes past the hour on this Thursday morning. And Bailey, today we are talking about slick roads in South Central.
Absolutely. Those slick roads are no joke. We've already seen some school cancellations today, and this is going to really impact your morning commute with that freezing rain, but into the overnight hours, that freezing rain again. But during the day, I want you to notice that temperatures in Anchorage are going to be 11 degrees above normal. So during the day, we're just going to shift to more of just the normal wet stuff that won't freeze until we get back into those overnight hours. Now, this warming trend isn't just affecting Anchorage, it's also affecting Fairbanks, 10 degrees warmer. So we're seeing very similar warming trends underway in South Central and also into the interior, with the warmest days of the week for today in Anchorage and also into Fairbanks as well, into the interior. Now, across the state, we've seen slightly a decline in some of these weather warnings, but the two that I want you to pay attention to is this wind advisory that did expire yesterday, but it's back up on the map. This is for Ketchikan and the southern portion of the Panhandle. This is for gusts up to 45 miles per hour. This will be in effect at 4 a.m. Friday morning, and that will last through 3 p.m. Friday afternoon. Now, in South Central, you may also notice what's highlighted in purple from Anchorage down to Homer, essentially spanning half the Kenai Peninsula. We're looking ahead to this winter weather advisory, and this will impact you. This is for that freezing rain that's on the roads, both for this morning and also what we will see into the overnight hours again. And after all of that rain passes during the day with this warming trend, then that's when that freeze will occur again, which will impact you tomorrow as well. Now, as we look at our jet stream forecast, this low pressure system in the Gulf is affecting South Central and also Southeast. You can see that jet stream spanning all the way up, moving from the south into Ketchikan and the southern portion of the Panhandle. This is where more of that moderate to heavy rainfall is expected. But into Juneau and the northern portion of the Panhandle, you're going to see a lot of light rain for today, about 0.2 of an inch. Meanwhile, southern portions of the Panhandle will see closer to 0.5 inch of rain. And even into South Central, this is a very similar trend, between 0.5 inch to 1.5 inches in areas like Seward, Whittier, and also even into Girdwood. So that's where this wet weather is coming from. But just behind me, this low pressure system bringing this jet stream near the western coastline. This is also bringing in these cooler temperatures. However, it's far enough away to keep these dry conditions intact. Also into the interior, dry conditions overhead with that ridge that just formed a minute ago. That's really what we're seeing. Just dry conditions for the interior and into Fairbanks. You're not really going to see any wet weather or any precipitation. Now, windy conditions are picking up in South Central, gusts picking up to 30 and even 40 miles per hour. This is also true in Southeast. You can already see these gusts picking up in Ketchikan and Yakutat at 30 and 35 miles per hour, but the possibility still exists up to 45 miles per hour. This is true up into the North Slope as well. That blizzard warning that we saw on the map a minute ago, that's for wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour, and we're already getting close to that at 47 miles per hour in Dead Horse. So brace for some pretty windy conditions, but that windy condition is also existing out in the Aleutian chain as that jet stream is flowing, bringing in gusts up to 30 miles per hour. But just be sure to check your wind chill as you head out the door for this morning.
Well, anyone who's been walking around these last few days knows it has not been easy, especially with the sidewalks that still haven't been plowed or cleared. Georgina Fernandez took a closer look at how all of the recent record-breaking snow is impacting those on foot.
If you've been walking around Anchorage,
it feels like sand. It feels like sand, like a very fine sand.
You know the snow is no easy trek. After Tuesday's record snowfall, the cleanup continues.
It is going to take some time.
Right now, the Department of Transportation is focused on major routes and tackling sidewalks, critical to people like Antoine who use them.
So we don't get injured to where we can get to where we need to be, and we're not just stuck at home or having to rely on somebody else to help us to get to where we need to.
But the work to get these routes open is going to take time from the heavy snow built up.
We've got to haul snow away in many areas around town before we can get those sidewalks fully open.
DOT says hauling all the snow can take days, even weeks.
They're trying their best to where we're trying our best to avoid to be on the street, but I know they got places to go too, but we do too.
So if you're driving, be alert. Pedestrians are sharing the road, and everyone is trying to navigate these snowy conditions safely. Georgina Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
Well, consumer alert as tax season opens the door for scammers that are hunting for your money. Investigative reporter Johnson Kuhn shows us the red flags for the tax season scams.
An Anchorage man tried to do something routine, set up a payment plan with the IRS. But what started as a simple phone call turned into a financial nightmare. Scammers contacted him demanding $300 and then another $300 every single week.
Every week he's sending them part of their paycheck, and they're never getting any work done for him. And at this point, he's lost his money and nothing's happened.
Bianca Del Rosa with Brave Tax Service has been helping that Anchorage resident slowly recover ever since. But he's far from alone. Thousands have reported similar scams to the Better Business Bureau, with attempted losses topping $6 million nationwide. In Alaska, 8 people reported the scam over the past year, with attempted losses around $10,000. What makes this scam different? Fraudsters use the names of legitimate tax companies.
What these fraudsters are doing is they're using names of legitimate tax companies. So they might say America Tax Consultant or U.S. Tax Services. They're just using these legitimate sounding names to sound legitimate.
Scammers contact victims by phone, text, or voicemail, pressuring them with threats of penalties or promises that sound too good to be true. Here's the critical detail. The IRS never calls you first, ever.
If somebody reaches out to you and they say that they are the IRS, or they say that they are doing something on behalf of the IRS, but you have not received a letter from the IRS yet, that's a big red flag. Pump the brakes. The person is lying to you.
Scammers demand payment through cryptocurrency, wire transfers, or gift cards. The IRS would never ask for these.
If somebody calling you up asking for anything other than your normal way that you always have paid the IRS, that's a major red flag that something's wrong.
Verify any tax company through the Better Business Bureau before working with them. Check their website and phone number against what the caller provided.
You always report anything to the IRS first and foremost.
In addition to reporting, De La Rosa says the IRS is a great resource as well when it comes to finding credentialed tax preparers in your area. Johnson Kuhn, Alaska's news source.
If you believe you've been scammed or reported to the IRS, or file a report with the BBB Scam Tracker, we've put that information on our website and mobile app.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically, and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.